start things with Animal Crossing New Horizons. So there are obviously two big games that were released on Friday, this game and then Doom Eternal. And I actually got Doom a few days earlier than I got Animal Crossing, so I was able to get a good jump on Doom, and I'm basically finished with Doom. I have not played a ton of Animal Crossing, but Mitch has. Mitch, you've really been grinding on Animal Crossing, right?
Oh yeah, been doing it every day for the last 4 days.
Yep. And Matt, how much time have you had to spend with AC?
I started Saturday morning, so a fair amount. I have all the fruit. Doing well in the museum. I'm about as far as you could be after that far. I mean, I've played a fair amount of it and gone to people's towns and had all my sent people things. I mean, it's in process. It's happening. As much as you can play Animal Crossing in a day, really. Because they gate you pretty hard in the first few days.
Yeah, that's actually the point that I wanted to make is, if you started playing on launch day, you can only be so far because the game keeps you from getting too far. So I have
unless you're cheating.
Unless you're cheating, right? And I have checked in every day, and so I guess I'm about as far as I could be as far as the main progress is concerned. I probably don't have as many trees on my island and cool stuff that I've got from other islands and things like that. So this game is called New Horizons, and I think a lot of people would assume with a title like that this would be kind of a paradigm shift for the franchise. It would see a lot of new functionality in it. However, having spent several days with this game, I'm kind of struggling to see it other than the connectivity. Matt, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think the title just refers to the fact that you're going to a new uninhabited island.
Well, you can't see our lower third, Matt, but it's called Same Horizons.
Yeah, well, that's all that means. The previous one was called New Leaf. That didn't mean anything either.
Well, turning over a new leaf, right?
I'll tell you. I mean, it's Animal Crossing. It's exactly why I haven't been particularly super excited about it for as long as we've known about it, is because it's the same damn game, and it always has been the same damn game. Right now, it's kind of the same damn game we need. There's kind of it's kind of the perfect game. This and Doom are kind of the perfect two games for what we're going through right now. It's like, do you want to brainlessly murder a bunch of demons, or do you want to just forget about shit and dig up fossils?
Well, Doom is literally hell on earth, which is what we're experiencing right now.
It's a lot easier to punch demons, though, than viruses.
Absolutely.
So it's cathartic.
That's a good point.
But I've been enjoying Animal Crossing for what it is.
Have you?
I know.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, I know what I'm getting into. I will say that, I haven't played an Animal Crossing probably since the Wii one, or maybe the DS one. I don't remember I didn't play New Leaf.
Okay.
But I played, I guess, the Wii. I think the Wii was probably the last one I played. I cannot believe we still don't have a dialogue skip feature in this game. How in the world do I have to sit through that damn owl every single time I have to talk to him? I know you can speed it up by holding B, but just let me get through it. It's just
that's the least of my concerns, to be honest with you.
That's really my main concern right now, because it's the thing I see the most. I'm I don't want to talk to the damn raccoon all the time when I just want to sell you 5 weeds.
So I guess we should just give a quick overview of the game for people who maybe haven't been following it that closely. It is, for all intents and purposes, another Animal Crossing, except this one is set on a deserted island. And when the game starts, you are given a choice between 4 different kind of layouts for your island. And I think I made a huge mistake when I chose mine. I decided to choose the one that had the most rivers because I thought it would make ultimately the island, I don't know, more diverse, make it look a little better, being able to build bridges across the streams and stuff like that. However, when I started the game, I quickly realized that I was locked into 20% of the island, and I couldn't reach any of the rest of it until I got kind of a pole vault thing that I built that let me pole vault over the different streams. So it starts off pretty much the same as all the other ones. You land on a plane on the island, you get there, you get your first abode, which is like a pup tent, basically. They teach you the basics of crafting, and crafting in this game is just like in anything else. You collect resources, you go to a tool bench, and then, depending on if you have found the recipes or not, then you can craft something. And then from there, once you kind of pay off your initial debt to Tom Nook to get there, which is 5,000 points or whatever, Then you upgrade to a full home, and then you're in debt 98,000 bells to Tom Nook, which you then start trying to pay off. And
I'm in debt 198,000 bells now because I'm one house up.
Oh, so you've already built a second house.
Yeah, and I've expanded it again, and let me tell you, it is not much of an expansion. Like,
Well, even from the tent to the house isn't that big of a deal.
No, even for it's just like one set of squares out now.
Yeah. And so that's really what Animal Crossing is. You just get on that squirrel wheel and you just keep building bigger and better things, not just for yourself, but for the island in general. One of the first things that you're tasked with doing is basically finding a bunch of bugs and fish and fossils for a museum. Once you've delivered enough of those, the museum is built and the building starts, and it happens overnight, and you wake up the next day and there's a museum. And that's kind of the loop of the game. It's kind of like, I said before we went on air, I was talking to Mitch, I'm like, it's kind of like the fidget spinner of video games. Like, it's just this thing that you use to just pass the time.
Yeah, you're not supposed to play it for like hours and hours each day. It's just like go in, deal with your stuff, get your resources, maybe do some things, see what changed, and come back tomorrow.
Yeah, because eventually you get to the point with each day where you're just catching the same fish and you're catching the same bugs. And typically that's your cue that, yep, it's time to lay down and go to sleep. And
I will say that I have never seen so many people online on my Switch before.
Yeah, and everyone's playing this game.
I have like 28 people online simultaneously, and they're all playing Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen this before.
Same deal with me. I mean, because people with own Switches don't play online.
Right.
They just
but
don't.
Also because there's nothing else to do right now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for sure. So, Matt, do you see any refinements in this at all from prior games? Because I'll tell you that.
I mean, I haven't played Animal Crossing for like 3 games, so I don't really know.
Well, I mean, so that's actually, you're the perfect person to ask because you have not played it for 3 games. Do you see a change in the game from when you played the game 3 installments ago?
I mean, I certainly recognize it. I think there's like elements that are more streamlined, like the switching of tools or once you get the tool ring.
Yeah.
I think it's easier to move trees around. It's easier to like rearrange the environment if you don't like it. Whereas before you were pretty much just stuck with it.
Yeah.
I don't know how common how extensive that was before, but obviously I'm 3 games out. The crafting is like both more interesting and more annoying because like now you need even more resources to do things. So like it is good that they expand the pocket room more, but I am also annoyed that I can't find a way to. I thought the tool ring was going to let me throw all my tools on a tool ring and free up inventory space, but no. I mean, it's still the same game in a lot of ways, to the point that the same character comes in every Sunday to sell turnips, and the same character shows up to sell your rugs, and the same character shows up to collect your museum fossils, and it's just the same thing with more palm trees.
Yeah.
Which I guess I'm kind of fine with right now, but I'll tell you this much: if I could go outside more, I would probably not be playing this as much as I am. Yeah,
I'll be perfectly honest. And look, I was way more excited for this game than you were. And I have played all the Animal Crossings. All of them, actually. I have not skipped one at all. And so for somebody like me, I was excited for this game. I remember the last time I played it, I think it was City Folk. I played it for probably 70 hours total by the time I quit. And I remember you giving me crap thinking I was crazy for doing that. And I think I was crazy for doing that. I'll agree with you 1,000%. What happened in that game was eventually the game ended up being broken because there was a certain place that you could go to fish where you could catch fish that were worth just ungodly amounts of bells. Mm-hmm. And so it just became a process of me traveling to that place, catching all the fish, coming back and selling them, and then the whole economy was broken. And it wasn't a glitch either. It wasn't some kind of thing where people discovered like some kind of hack that worked on it. It was just the way that they had designed the game. And I haven't really found anything like that yet in this one.
I mean, turnips are a little bit like that, and also there have been people who have managed to exploit tarantula catching.
Aren't there islands with infinite tarantulas or something?
There are islands full of tarantulas. Tarantulas sell for, I think, 8,000 bells each. There was one guy who, on Twitter, I saw, who built an army of tarantulas. Like, he literally stacked them up 3 high on his... He cleared his whole island, stacked them up 3 high, in a line all the way across the island and marched in front of them with a flag like a commander. Like that was what he did with all the tarantulas.
But look, I'll say that's kind of what you're looking to do with this game. In a lot of ways, you kind of have to make your own fun. And I think it's flexible enough that you can do that. But I think people who maybe aren't into those kind of games should maybe beware of this a little bit, because organically, I don't feel like it does provide a ton of fun if you've been playing entry after entry. Now, we have someone else here who has never played Animal Crossing before, and this is his first game. Mitch, what are your first impressions of your first ever Animal Crossing?
It's fine. You know, the having to deal with not being able to push through the game is a little different. And when I started to realize I had to go to bed all the time was a little frustrating because I wanted to keep going, especially because the isolation right now with where everyone's at, that's kind of the thing people want to do right now.
Yeah.
But I see this game more as like a social experiment or a social experience more than a video game itself, because it's all about exploring other people's islands. It's all about seeing what people have put on their island. You know, the gameplay mechanics itself, like I play online with a friend of mine, and every time he goes to my island or I go to his, we already drained our resources. So there's not much gameplay to do at that time. It's mainly about the social interaction. But I think where it falls short is there's no way to chat, and I think it would be
there's no social interaction.
I think it would be extremely beneficial if this game had chat, like something as simple as that.
It does have chat.
I mean, it does, but
text chat.
Yeah.
It doesn't
No
work
voice
in
chat.
communication. I basically was Skype calling my friend while we were exploring each other's island, and I had way more fun than trying to text him on the phone.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just Nintendo.
Yeah, but I mean, it's part of the game, and it's cumbersome to communicate with others in this game. Now,
The worst part about the communication with the chat is that for whatever reason they made Y space.
Yeah,
which like is
throws it
reverse.
off.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not the top button.
Yeah.
Like
It's
every
so weird.
other game console has the top button is space in chat, and they have the left button instead. And the top button closes the window. So I continually erase the chat message I'm trying to type by accidentally using the same button that everybody else uses for space. Nintendo, fall in line.
It also just takes forever to type something out. By the time I finish typing something, the other person has already wandered to like the other side of the island. Now, you can use the app. There's a companion app for this game where you can actually just type on your phone to send those things, and that does make it a lot easier. But yes, for a game like this, voice chat should almost be mandatory. Now, I get it. It's Nintendo. Nintendo's really paranoid about, communicating because a lot of kids play their games. They're afraid adults are going to talk to kids. I get all that, but, it's the same issue that every other platform holder has, and they've all sorted it out. So I don't understand why Nintendo still has not managed to fix this. So, Mitch, are you
Probably the same reason they haven't given you a text skip, because we buy it anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point. Mitch, are you kind of dumbfounded by how popular this franchise is now that you're playing your first, or do you get it?
I get it. It's probably this is the perfect time for the game to ever come out. I agree with Matt. If I could go outside, because I like to do other things like play tennis or go to the gym, other things like that, I probably would not be as entertained as I am at this moment, because it is an escape. It is a way to get away from all the hard times that people are going through right now, and it's nice to kind of just build something, show off your personality, and have positivity in life, because everything is really
You can't get it
negative
anywhere
now.
else right
you
now.
can't. It's all negative today.
It is, absolutely. So you are kind of understanding why it's been such a big deal. By the way, this game is selling better than any Animal Crossing ever has. Topped the UK charts over the weekend. It's the best-selling Switch game ever at least one Japanese retailer. That same Japanese retailer said it's the most it's ever sold of a game in 1 week. So this game is setting the world on fire. It could not have come out at a better time. Not just that it's a big Nintendo first-party game, but the fact that it is the type of game that it is, that is taking you away to this island vacation, which nobody can do right now. It was just the perfect time for this exact game to be released. Now, as someone who has been playing Animal Crossing all along, and I've played every version of the game, I am disappointed that there aren't more changes in this game. We're going to talk about connectivity in a second. That is definitely the biggest new addition, the way they handle sort of online functionality in this. But the rest of the game itself, like I said earlier, this game is like a fidget spinner. It's a time killer. Nothing exciting ever really happens. I think what it does is it sets your bar for excitement so low that when something stupid happens, like something shows up in your mailbox, you're like, Yahoo! It's weird. It grinds you down to almost boredom so that when even dumb stuff happens, you get excited about it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I was so one of my friends sent me a ladder early before I could build one, and it was the best thing that's happened in the game because I can get up on things now.
Yeah.
And then I started having them make me more ladders so I could send them to other people.
Yeah.
And like,
I think Matt just froze there.
basically, I was like, oh, it's like and it's like where we are. Like,
Yeah.
we're excited about having basic mobility.
Yeah. It's a fine line to walk. When you have a franchise that's as old as Animal Crossing, you have a lot of fans, and fans have specific expectations of the franchise. I totally get that. I'm not saying that they should have tipped the apple cart for this entry. However, as someone who has played this game for a long time, this franchise for a long time, it bothers me that there are not more ease of use upgrades. A lot of the things that annoy the crap out of me about past Animal Crossing games are annoying me in this one. Like, you go to sell stuff. You can't go to the list of stuff you want to sell and mark like 10 things and sell them all at once. You have to sell each thing.
No, you don't.
No, you don't.
How do
can
you do
sell
that?
all
So-
items.
How?
Just highlight all of them and then hit start.
For real?
Plus.
I never
think-
even
yeah.
knew that.
I think you unlock it later.
Oh, I haven't got there yet.
Because we talked about this, you and I, and the things you talked about with this specific thing, also with fossils. Once the museum's built, you also can select multiple fossils and have him skip telling you about each fossil. But you do have
see,
to.
I'm not that far in the game. I've not got to the point where I can do that yet.
Well, you do have to
that's
go
the way
through that
it's
grind.
Like, it's like that from the beginning.
Really?
It's like that from the very start. Yeah.
I never figured it out. Do they tell you that?
Selling. No, I think I just figured it out because the interface seems to imply it.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
like when you click on a thing in the inventory when you're selling, it highlights it in blue, and then you can click on another thing and highlight that in blue, and then it has a little thing that says confirm. You just go down to confirm, and it sells everything at once.
I did not know that. I've been selling everything one at a time the entire time I've been playing this game. And maybe that's a failure of them
that
not
would definitely
explaining.
make it worse.
It makes it way worse because I spend so much time trying to sell stuff back to Nook, or what's Nook's little kid called? Timmy and Tommy. Yeah, selling stuff to them. I've been doing it one at a time. It's been incredibly annoying. So that's good to hear. Actually, they have fixed one of the major issues I've had with the franchise for a while.
You can you can do things in batches now. Finally,
That's great. That's a huge upgrade. But it's something so stupid and simple that you'd think it would have been in the game a long time ago. It wasn't. So it's good to see that that's there. And
I wasn't sure if that was new in this game or if they'd done that a couple games ago.
Yeah, because
If it really took this long to do that, that's amazing.
It's silly. I mean, it is silly. It's something that's so simple, but yeah, I mean, that's good to hear. But at the same time, I've played this franchise for how many years? I played this game for a few hours at this point. I've been playing mostly Doom, and I didn't know it was there. So they don't tell you specifically, like, hey, you can batch sell stuff. But that's a huge upgrade. That will make a big difference for a game that is essentially a spreadsheet with something painted over top of it. I mean, that's really what Animal Crossing is. It's just a big database grinding below the surface with this kind of, I don't know, almost like a set for a play, like a standee in front of it.
It was a mobile game before there were mobile games, really.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually. And look, the upgrades to visuals in this game are pretty drastic. Obviously, easily the best-looking Animal Crossing ever.
Oh yeah, the museum actually looks really nice.
Yeah.
All the stuff in there.
Yeah, there are lots of things that look really nice. At the same time, there's a lot of corners cut, and it's like when you hand stuff in to buy it, it's always in the same bag. Like, the character creation in this game is so freaking anemic. Like, for a
That's
game...
because they want you have to unlock all that stuff later.
Yep, exactly. But when you start the game, it's pretty much impossible to make a character that looks like you. Because there's, 4 hairstyles and, 3 noses.
Yeah. Basically, you have to, make someone that looks like a human.
Yeah.
There's no way to tell, really. It's not a me.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
So you have to basically work to create a character that actually looks like you. I guess eventually you're going to get there. I haven't really, in the time I've played, other than a new shirt, I haven't really got anything like that unlocked. Have you?
The weirdest thing to me is I couldn't find a hair color that looks like my hair color.
Yeah,
Like,
because there's like
I-
dark
there-
brown
there
and
is no-
black.
Yeah, there's no brown that really matches my brown.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was weird.
I suspect a lot of people are going to have that same problem. Let's talk about connectivity, because it is kind of the big. I don't even know. It's not really new, because the game has kind of had connectivity stuff in the past. But
Yeah,
it's,
going back to the Wii, they've done that. But I guess this is the closest they've gotten to workable, but it's still pretty odd in places.
Yep. So when you land, in perfect timing with the B-roll, when you land on the plane at the island, there's like a little airport there. And the airport ends up acting as your gateway to the connectivity. So there's literally a physical gate there that when you open it up, that allows people to come onto your island. And there are pretty good settings there as far as like whether you want to allow specific people to come or not, or you just want to let anyone show up. But once you do that, people can just start coming to your island. And I had a sifter come and hang out on my island, and it was cool. Like, he had played longer than me, so he was kind of giving me some tips. He told me that there was a message in a bottle at the shoreline, and I should go and grab it, which I did. We hung out for a while, but then it got to the point where I wanted to make progress in the game. And the way the game is set up, it kind of locks you out from moving forward when you have somebody on your island. You try to do stuff, and they'll say, you should concentrate on making sure your guests are having a good time instead of just letting you do stuff. So after a while, I socialized with the guy, and we talked for a while. He gave me some tips, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to start actually making progress. I couldn't. So he had like gone idle. He was just standing in front of the bulletin board, like not moving for like 20 minutes. And I was like trying to tell him, hey, I want to go on. And I think he just was like AFK. So I boot him. If you hit the minus button on the left Joy-Con, you can select to boot people. I think it's actually called like end the session. And I did that, and it booted him out. And then I had lost everything that I had collected while he was there, all of it. All my inventory was completely empty. I had like 5 things left. I lost all the bells I collected. I lost all the miles that I had collected. And I was pretty disappointed to see that. I don't know if that only happens when you boot somebody. Do you guys have any experience with that?
No. Whenever someone leaves, it saves when they leave, and I kept everything. I haven't run into that.
So you haven't had to boot anyone, though. They've just left
No.
on their own.
Yeah, no, I have not booted anybody yet.
Yeah, so I lost everything that I had collected and done while he was there, so including that message in a bottle that he had sent me to the shore to get. So that was a little odd. But overall, what are your guys' impressions of the connectivity? Does it really add in much to the game?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Like, I've been to a couple places, had people come over a bit. We've traded a bunch of things. People give me I've got all the fruit because I had a ladder, so I would go to people's islands and dig up the fossils on the high ground that they couldn't get to yet and bring them to them, and then they give me fruit in exchange. Like, I've enjoyed that kind of thing and seeing how people set things up. One person had like this really creepy setup on the far side of their island with a bunch of garden gnomes, which I'm actually replicating in mine now, because like it's just like because you know how the world sort of like scrolls as sort of like a sphere towards you.
It's almost like Super Mario Galaxy in some ways, the way the world works.
It's set up. This is set up so as you walk kind of north, the gnomes just sort of appear on the horizon, and it's really creepy, and I love it. And I actually found a neon diner sign today that I put behind all the gnomes. It's like 2 stories tall, and it just says "We're open," and it's just the creepiest thing. So it like you said, it's about making your own fun, but like part of that fun is letting people come over and like see the weird stuff you've done.
Well, the other thing about it is visiting them and seeing not only what they've done, but getting the resources that they have. If you haven't found a specific type of fruit that you need to plant so that you have those types of trees on your island, it's the easiest way to do it. And before you could do this in Animal Crossing, getting stuff like that was a major pain in the ass. And now, even if you don't have friends that you're connected to on Nintendo Online, you can just go to random islands and you can find stuff that in other games would have taken you like days to get access to. So
the Nook Tour tickets are a good addition, or whatever they're called, where you buy the ticket and you just go to a random uninhabited island and there's anything could be there. Like, I've gotten a lot of good stuff from those.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got pretty much, when you land on your island, I think there's just 1 fruit per island. Like, I had peaches on mine. And then
there's 1 native fruit per.
And then you have to go out and collect the other ones. And I was, basically my whole island was full of peach trees, and then I started visiting other islands, and now I have like 4 or 5 different tree types growing on my island. In fact, the one person who visited gave me a coconut, which allowed me to start growing palm trees on my island. So in all honesty, I think connectivity, and maybe you guys disagree with this, I think connectivity is really the key to enjoying this game, particularly if you have played several of these in the past.
Well, I mean, they've always had that to some degree. Like to collect fruit on the original GameCube one, you just had to mail it to each other with that code.
Right. Yeah.
Which was, kind of that's how they force you to communicate, is to get fruit and stuff. I mean, I have all the fruit now. It's all growing. It's not sprouted yet, but like I have all fruit trees of every kind planted. And it's entirely from like trading with people and going to other islands and doing that, and it works really well. And of course, it's the same thing with the fruit is more valuable. It's not from your island. The one thing I've noticed is like 90% of the people I know, pears are their native fruit. Like pear seems to be the most common native fruit for some reason. And every single like Nook Tour island I've been to, pears. Every single one. I've been to like 6 of them, all pears.
Really?
I don't know what the pear thing is. Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder why that is.
Because I've hit different ones when I went on my tours.
Me too. Yeah.
And also, those Nook trips to those islands, great way to make money real quick. Like just scavenge everything. It's pretty easy to do that. And I came out to a couple islands where I came out with last night. I had like 35,000 bells I just did from scavenging an entire island. And I'm like, this could pay off my house pretty quick because I'm at the same place you are, Matt. I owe like $40,000 on my $198,000 home. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that is a good way to get currency, is to just go to other islands, basically pillage them for all they're worth. Try to make sure that your inventory is as empty as possible before you go there. And then in today's SIFTD HQ, Mitch actually has a really good tip, which is once you're on one of those islands, like just intentionally break a couple of your easily craftable items so you have a couple extra slots freed up to put stuff in there again that's worth a lot of money that you can take back and sell. Mitch, you said you paid off like your first house in like 2 trips, right?
Yeah, I mean, I paid off each house every single day so far, except yesterday. I was working on HQ, so I didn't have time to spend more time in Animal Crossing, but you could pay off each house like in one day if you just go to enough islands.
Yep. So this is a game basically without an objective, and it always has been. What is it that keeps people playing, do you guys think?
I think it's similar to
filling the
Dreams.
bar is fun, I guess.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, really.
Like, I think it's similar to Dreams in the aspect of creativity and letting people show off their personality. Their like Matt said, those gnomes made you really excited about that because it was really interesting to see. And someone is showing off their personality and their creativity, and I think that it matches that in similar to Dreams.
Yeah, or Minecraft. I think Minecraft, this game in particular gives me a big-time Minecraft vibe.
Yeah, I would say Minecraft more than anything.
Although this game does not give you, by the way, we should say, does not give you anywhere near the leeway that Minecraft does to create stuff. For the most part, everything in this game is pre-built, and you're just slapping it down, and then you're filling it with your stuff. We did show you a little bit of B-roll there. There's like patterns that they give you that you can put on your shirt, and you can, use it for wallpaper and flooring and things like that. But the structures are for the most part pre-built. You just slap them down, and then you kind of go about customizing them that way.
Yeah, it's in comparison to something like Minecraft or Stardew Valley, it's extremely simplistic.
Yeah, it's like my first Minecraft, and kids are masters of Minecraft at this point. I wonder if they'll think this game is too simple.
Well, I think something else that they might not like about this one, and these are 2 gripes I have about the game, I think the controls are really flimsy. It's really hard to be accurate, especially when I'm like trying to shoot out a fishing pole. Like my friend and I basically did a contest of who can catch the fish first because we kept missing. And he won, obviously, but
yeah, why is
like
it the fishing? Why, when you hit the button, doesn't a cursor just appear that you can then control over the surface of the water and release it, and that's where you cast your line? It is absurd, like trying to inch your character so it has the exact right angle to toss the line so it lands in front of the fish. Again, something that's been a part of the franchise for a long time that they just haven't seemed to be able to get over the hump on.
Well, and at least I'll add to that is that, there's that, but at the same time, the controls, and I use a pro controller. I prefer that over everything else when I play on my Switch. Even on the pro controller, the controls are too little inch movements are like you move like 10 feet.
Yeah.
And it's like, and when I played on handheld mode, it's even worse because those Joy-Con just doesn't work.
I agree. I mean, but it's also been, you don't know this because you haven't played them, but it's been a problem in the series for forever, which is really weird. Like, the limited controls that you do get in this game, typically Nintendo would do a far better job nailing those. I mean, that's usually Nintendo's wheelhouse, is controls, how a game feels to play. And you're right, that's probably the worst element of Animal Crossing. It's really odd.
Yeah, the precision problems really come, like, because there's the classic way of cheating on, or gaming the rocks, where you hit a rock with a shovel and it spits something out.
Yep.
And they work like the multi-coin blocks in Mario, where the more you hit them in a certain amount of time, the more you get out of them.
Yep.
So the trick is you dig 2 holes diagonally away from it so that you kind of put your back to the holes, and when you hit the rock, it doesn't knock you back. The holes stop you from, so you can just keep hitting it.
Yep.
And trying to dig those holes accurately every time, like it's a crapshoot.
That's impossible. Trying to water plants.
Yes.
It's insane. It's impossible to get the spray onto the plants. And then the crazy part is the only way that you know that they've been watered are there these little tiny drops that drop off of the leaves of the plant, which you can hardly even see. But you're right. If you want to like create a row of trees, like digging the holes to plant the fruit in a perfect line is like impossible. Like, it's very bizarre. It's just something that usually Nintendo nails in its games, and it just, for whatever reason with this franchise, it keeps lumbering on like this. It's really weird.
I also think something that contributes to it is the camera. The lack of having that free camera control where you can... It's because the trees block it, and even if you can push the camera upwards...
I'm glad you brought that up.
Sometimes you still can't see, so I'm like walking around, and then I have to look for the text bubble to say, hey, that's a peach. You can pick it up. But sometimes
you can,
it takes
if you're behind a tree or something, and you can't see. If you hit up on the right stick, it'll zoom in and it'll make whatever's in front of you invisible.
Really?
So you can see what's there.
I've tried that.
I did not know that.
And it didn't do anything.
But as soon as you move, it goes back to normal.
Oh.
I didn't even know that you could do that. Wow, this is great.
Yeah.
Because like my island has a stream that goes across the top of the island, and so if I go up there and I try to fish, there's always trees that are blocking me from seeing the water. And so I throw my line in the water, and I have no idea if the fish is anywhere near it. So you're saying hold up on the right stick, and that tree will disappear?
Yeah, but only when you're standing still. Like, as soon as you do something, the view goes back to normal.
Interesting.
It's mostly useful to see if, like, there's a weed patch behind the tree you haven't gotten, or something's dropped behind the tree that you haven't gotten. The other use for it is at night, if you push up on the stick, you'll get a better view of the sky, which is how you see shooting stars. And if you see a shooting star, you hit A, and you get, quote, a wish. But all that really means is it drops shooting star material on the beach, and you can go pick it up, and then you can make special things with the shooting star material.
And that is one thing that is cool about this game, is there's all these things that are just happening. It's set to a clock, and in fact, it's supposed to sync to like your real time. So when it's dark where you are, it's dark in the game. And there are just random events that pop up. Like sometimes you'll just see a present just floating on a balloon that goes across the world. You may completely miss it. And if you don't have a slingshot, you can't bring it down and get it anyway.
That's how I got that neon diner sign.
Yeah. I mean, that is one of the cool things about this game. You kind of don't know what's going to happen every day. And it is timed to a clock. So when it's your birthday, something happens in the game. When it's a holiday, something happens inside the game. It's a life simulation with animals, basically. That's what it comes down to. And that
really
is where...
Weird. The other thing is, like, I've met a lot of animals on people's islands and stuff. It seems to be a very high concentration of animals that are obsessed with working out.
Yeah.
Like the personality type that just wants like a lifting buddy. Like, I run into that personality type constantly.
I gave that guy a weight, and he gave me a T-shirt.
Makes sense. Okay, so should people buy this game? Like I said, it's a great time killer, and I think the tone of it is perfect right now because people are looking for comfort, and it is, even for older players like me, it is comfort food gaming. And I think even for newcomers to this franchise, when they start playing it, it's a relaxing, tranquil experience. It's not going to get your nerves all fired up. It's not demanding. Like, if you miss something, it's like, so what? It's kind of like a lazy video game to play, which is perfect for right now, but should people buy it? Matt.
I mean, if you didn't like the other ones, this ain't going to change your mind.
Yeah.
But as someone who did kind of like the other ones, but also like stopped caring and stopped playing them for a while, like coming back to this one at this time was useful just because any amount of social interaction, I'll take it right now. It's like going to like Morgan's Island was like really great. I was like, hey, it's like we're hanging out.
Kinda.
Like, if it wasn't that kind of time, I don't know if I would be as forgiving of so many of its weird foibles as I am, but I am enjoying it well enough that I don't regret it. But I'm also going to say it's got to be helping that I haven't played Animal Crossing in like almost 10 years.
That does help. Mitch, as a newcomer, how do you feel? Do you regret buying it? Or are you happy that you bought it?
No, I mean, I agree with Matt. I think the circumstance in today's time affects a little bit of my view on this game because, you know, I think it would have been as busy or as exciting, as fun if people were so socially isolated at the moment. But I think if I was a person that have played this game before, like the last game, and I didn't enjoy it as much, I could see not enjoying this one because it's so similar. I think the only unfortunate thing with this game, especially in the times we are in today, that you are limited on what you can do each day. I think if you could do everything all the time, I think my perception on this would be a little bit higher because there's such a roadblock for you every single day.
You can always just jump unconnect the time of the Switch to from the internet and just jump the time ahead, and you'll get the next day's thing. Whatever, like. People are doing that a lot just to like kind of move on.
Basically, the internet is
the
clock.
The Switch clock does.
Oh, okay.
So what you have to do is basically uncheck the thing that says, like, I haven't done this, so I don't know if this is exactly how you do it, but you have to uncheck the thing that syncs the Switch's clock to the internet and then set the time ahead however you want, like to the next day, or people have been doing it weeks ahead to get like stuff to grow or whatever. And then you can set it back for other things, and like the mole will yell at you or whatever. But like you can cheat it if you want. I haven't done that yet, but like I can see a point arriving where I'm just like, you know what, I don't want to wait another day for this thing to get built, and I just want to do it now. So I don't blame people in the current situation if they want to do it that way.
Which would make sense because my Switch is still set to Central Time when I was in Minnesota. So I'm playing 2 hours ahead of LA time in Animal Crossing World. Same thing on my PlayStation. But the only thing I would say to that is, you know, it does hinder still, and who wants to take the time to go into their Switch, change the clock?
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's not something that's feasible for
I used to do that in the
person.
GameCube version, and it's almost more hassle than it's worth, ultimately. I don't know. I don't have a sense of urgency when I play this franchise. It's like, to me, it's just kind of this experience that I just let it wash over me. I take what it gives me every day, and I move on. I'm not that concerned with making progress in this game that I would want to take the time to do something like that, but obviously the option's there if you do, which is great.
I was tempted to do it a couple times just because I was waiting for the thing to get, whatever the thing was being built to get built, and like my inventory was basically filling up. You know, and I'm just like, well, I just need to get rid of this stuff, but I don't want to throw it away. So it's just a waiting game of like getting the basic elements of the gameplay in place. Like early on are annoying to me. Like you can't go online the first day.
Right. Yeah.
For no apparent reason.
Yeah, there was really no reason other than maybe
like
they want noobs to learn.
I just got the ability to do emotes. Like, why was that behind a lock? Like, I don't get it. Like,
well, a lot of it is because a lot of kids play their games, and they want the kids to slowly build their knowledge base.
I promise the kids know how emotes work in a video game. It's just a little remedial.
It's Nintendo.
Like, there's a point at which it crosses over from like, oh, this is for kids, and like, is this for my parents? Like,
yeah.
It's so slow. It's like, I feel like you're targeting my mom and not like my niece.
Are you guys going to keep playing?
Because my niece knows what she's doing. Yeah, I'm going to keep playing.
Yeah. What about you, Mitch?
I'll keep playing. My friend keeps sending me stuff of fish he's catching, shirts he's getting, all that kind of stuff. So it kind of incentivizes me to keep going because I want to, one, keep up with him, and two, kind of see where the game goes further. I forgot one last little point, which is a little ridiculous, is when you sell your items in the beginning, like where you're at, Shane, you can go there anytime you want, any time of day to sell your stuff and buy things. But when you build a shop, there are shop hours, and you can't go buy things if you're only between the hours of like 8 and 10, like 8 a.m. to 10
So wait,
p.m.
does it close up the other shop that I've been using and you can't go
Yes,
use it?
exactly.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
they
You
moved
can
to the new
drop
shop.
things into a drop box and get money the next day for it, but it completely just like went complete opposite of what you've been doing the entire time, which made no sense.
Yeah, that's
I was
odd.
just like, why aren't you limiting early and then stay that way instead of giving me full-fledged and then cutting me off early later?
Yeah, I guess I would recommend buying this game. It's a tough call for me. If people have played the franchise before or several entries before, I would pull back on that a little bit. To me, it's not a must-buy, but I think everyone just needs to have their expectations set in the right place before they make the purchase. And you should know that it's this thing that sticks around every day but doesn't take up a lot of your time. It's kind of like this thing that you check in with every day, and as you get better at it and you start to understand how all the systems work and how they all connect together, you start to learn how to maximize the time. And eventually it becomes this thing that you check in on and you spend 15, 20 minutes with it a day, and it just kind of keeps going. So I think as long as you have those expectations in mind before you buy the game and you're cool with that, you get a lot of value out of these games. That's just the bottom line. Like a lot of games like Doom, we're going to talk about that in a minute. You buy it, you play it, 4 days later, you're on to something else. That's not how this game works. And I think there aren't a lot of franchises in gaming at all, not just on the Switch or any other platform, that do this, that give you this product or this experience that is built to sustain over the long haul. We're seeing it with games as a service now. Maybe Animal Crossing was the original game as a service. It's kind of interesting to think about. But, you know, for $60 that you're going to spend on this game, for most people, you're going to get way over your normal value for your $60 playing Animal Crossing New Horizons. So I think that's a clean sweep across all three of us. I think all of us recommend that you should pick it up.